4 teams the sportsbooks don't believe in but can absolutely crash the party this year. I've got one team from each of the P4 conferences that I see as having the right roster, schedule, and coaching to have a realistic path to winning the conference championship. Welcome back to 3rd and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to bring you my dark horse contenders for the 2026 college football season in terms of conference championship odds. So here you see the 4 teams I've selected: the Tennessee Volunteers, Penn State Nittany Lions, Pittsburgh Panthers, and the Houston Cougars. Each one of these teams' odds are between 5th and 8th in their respective conferences. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start it off with the Tennessee Volunteers and why I see them as a dark horse this year. It all starts with Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel is one of the best offensive minds in the SEC. He's one of the best offensive minds in the country. It has not mattered who the quarterback is. And I know Tennessee is going to go out there with a freshman QB, probably redshirt freshman George McIntyre, who we haven't really seen play. But he's done it with every quarterback from Joe Milton to Hendon Hooker. It has not mattered who the QB is. Josh Heupel has been able to produce offense. They got Deshaun Bishop back at running back. He's a legit RB1, one of the best running backs in the SEC. They've got enough weapons on the outside. I know they lost one of their wide receivers, with Chris Brazzell at wide receiver, but they've got the other guys back on the outside, dangerous weapons on the outside. And then defensively, the linebacking core returns deep experience. They got a 2 deep. That's pretty experienced back there. And if you have good linebackers, I believe that you're going to have a good defense. It's just something I've always believed in terms of football. So now let's go ahead and take a look at, do they have the schedule? See, they got the pieces, right? You got the coaching. You got the players around George McIntyre, right? George McIntyre's the question mark. Do they have the schedule? When I was looking for dark horse teams, the Vols' path looked to me as one of the easier schedules in terms of a team that can contend for the conference championship game. And again, I'm not picking them to win the SEC, but they have the schedule to contend. When you're looking at the SEC, when you're like a big conference like SEC and Big Ten, I really like to look at road conference schedule. Do you get the bad teams on the road? Because if you get a bad team at home, you're gonna beat the bad team anyway. So you really want to get them on the road. You get one of the better teams at home, if you understand what I mean. So if you look at this, they get Texas and Bama at home, tougher teams, but you get them at home. Maybe you could pull off an upset in one of these games. But on the road, we've got Arkansas, South Carolina, A&M, and Vanderbilt. So when I'm looking at the Vols' path to winning the SEC, or at least getting to the SEC championship game, and from there you could win it, you've got at Arkansas, going to be one of the worst teams in the SEC. At South Carolina, I think Shane Beamer's going to be out of there at the end of the season. At Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia is gone. The Vanderbilt is going back to what the Vanderbilt is that we were used to seeing. And then, I know you got at Texas A&M, so that's going to be a tough one, probably an L. But still, 3-1 on the road. Then you get Texas and Bama at home. Now you got an opportunity where you can pull off some home upsets, right? You got the home environment. You got Neyland Stadium helping you out, helping you get those wins. Maybe Tennessee can sneak into that conference championship game. And from there, anything can happen. All right, let's move on to my Big Ten team. That would be the Penn State Nittany Lions. So the big thing with Penn State is they hire Matt Campbell from Iowa State. Matt Campbell comes over and brings practically everybody from Iowa State, transfers into Penn State. So the 2026 Penn State Nittany Lions are really going to be the 2026 Iowa State Cyclones for the most part. And side note, if Matt Campbell stayed at Iowa State, Iowa State would have a legit shot to win the Big 12 because that team was going to be loaded with experience. He brings over Rocco Beck with him at quarterback, 39 career starts. I think there's a hard ceiling on the talent he has, but still, 39 starts is 39 starts. You can't sneeze at that. He's got his receivers. He's got his tight ends. He's got Carson Hansen transferring at running back, so he's got a lot of familiar faces around him. So you're not expecting any chemistry issues with Rocco Beck in that offense. And then the big thing with Penn State is it's their path. When you're looking for a dark horse in the Big Ten, I was looking for a team that doesn't play the Big Three. That's Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. Penn State doesn't play either in any of those teams. So we take a look at their schedule. You've got, road games at Northwestern, at Michigan, at Washington, at Maryland. Again, I talk about the SEC. Same with the Big Ten. If you got the easy teams on the road, you got a real good opportunity to have a really nice season because you can pull off some home upsets. So I got Michigan highlighted here for a reason. At Michigan, mid-season, it's probably, I think Michigan's better than Penn State, so I wouldn't be shocked to see them lose that game. But then after that game, they play this final stretch of Purdue at Washington, who I do not think is going to be a good team this year. That's for a conversation for another video. home against Minnesota, home against Rutgers, at Maryland, who's probably going to be looking for a new head coach at this time of the season. You're talking about 5 straight games, 5 straight wins that I see Penn State having to end the year. When you're talking about a team won 5 games in a row, all the other teams are competing around them to get to that Big Ten championship game. They got tougher schedule. They might lose a game here late. They might lose a game there mid-season. Winning 5 straight, you're going to have yourself a nice, pretty record at the end of the year that Penn State could sneak in to the Big Ten championship game, even though I don't think they're one of the 3 best teams in the Big Ten. Because of schedule, I think they got a chance that they could sneak into the Big Ten title game. All right, let's go over to the ACC. Pittsburgh Panthers, why they can steal the ACC, really, is parity after Miami. Now, I think Miami's going to win the ACC just like everybody thinks Miami's going to win the ACC. But we've got to find a dark horse contender. I'm going to land on Pittsburgh because they have an experienced defensive line. If you got an experienced, veteran, good defensive line, which is what they are a good D-line, you can cause a lot of problems for the other teams that are kind of on the same level as you, right? Then offensively, you got the all-freshman backfield of Mason Heinschel at quarterback, running back Ja'Karian Turner. They had a really good late season stretch. They're coming back this year, sophomores. They should be able to take a big step forward. So you got a good D-line to help your defense get off the field. Now you got an offensive backfield that should be able to generate pass plays down the field, despite the fact they got to replace their wide receiving core. Got a experienced quarterback there now, and you got a good running back. Ja'Karian Turner showed last season, especially cooked Georgia Tech and barbecued them. So you got a really good tandem right there in the backfield. And then because the conference is wide open, I think there's going to be a lot of parity and tiebreakers to see who that second place team is that goes to the ACC title game. I don't think it's going to be clear cut in the ACC on who faces the Canes in the ACC championship game. So why not Miami, why not Pitt, right? We take a look at their schedule, and I mean, there's some landmines here, right? You got at Virginia Tech, with James Franklin starting off there. I don't expect them to win in Miami, right? So you got to kind of count that as an L. And then that late season, I think late season is going to really what decides it for Pitt in terms of tiebreakers go, right? So we take a look at this late season stretch here for Pittsburgh, and it's the final month, really. I mean, Georgia Tech, they play on Halloween, but let's just count it for in November. Georgia Tech at home, I think they're taking a big step back. Florida State at home on a Friday night, a team that maybe has already fired their coach by this season, or by this point in the season. And then at Louisville, at Cal, that's going to probably really decide it for Pitt Panthers on whether or not they're going to make the ACC title game. So because of that, I like Pitt as a dark horse contender to win the ACC, though. I mean, I'm picking Miami like everybody else, right? All right, and then moving on to the Big 12, the Houston Cougars. This is a really popular pick out there. If you listen to all the talking heads, a lot of people are on Houston this year. Their Big 12 odds are plus 1,600. This is the year 3 under Willie Fritz. I've followed Willie Fritz for a long time. I think he's a great coach. He's won everywhere he's ever been. Now he's going into his 3rd year, and he's returning, or 3rd year coming off a 10-win season, returning his starting quarterback in Connor Wegman, returning his wide receiver in Amari. He's got Mekhi Hughes at running back transferring in from Oregon. If you remember, Mekhi Hughes 2 years ago at Tulane was killing, and he was doing it against P4 teams too. Ran for over 1,400 yards, I believe. He goes to Oregon. For whatever reason, he's like 5th string. I don't know what was going on there. I'll try to find something. Whatever reason, he was in the doghouse and he was not playing. He decided to redshirt and transfer. He transfers to Houston. If he's going to be Tulane version of Mekhi Hughes, that's a big boost to the offense. And it gives them a legit trio: quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. And then defensively, they retained the core of last year's starting defense, which was a decent defense. You could expect them to take a step forward this year. We take a look at Houston's schedule. They got their big, but that might still be an L. But there is no Sorsby, right? The quarterback Will Hammond, who's expected to be the starter. He got hurt last season. I don't know if he's going to be ready by this point in the year, or if he's got enough reps to not have knocked the rust off by this point in the year. So, an opportunity. I still think Texas Tech is loaded. I still think Texas Tech should be the favorite to win the Big 12. But Houston does catch them early. Catching them early, maybe they pull off the upset. But regardless, even if they don't, you take the L to Texas Tech early. You don't play BYU. The rest of the slate, winnable. The rest of the slate is winnable. And let's take a look at this final stretch. You should end the season hot. Again, similar to Pitt Panthers, this final month is going to matter. You host Cincinnati. I'm not expecting them to be any good. At Colorado, I think Coach Prom is done. at West Virginia, they stink, and then you host Baylor, David Rand is going to be out the door. So you could really end the season hot. Houston Cougars got a chance to have another really nice record, and they could get themselves into that Big 12 championship game, depending on what happens with Texas Tech and BYU. So anyways, that's the 4 teams that I see as dark horse contenders. We got the Tennessee Volunteers, Penn State Nittany Lions, Houston Cougars, and the Pitt Panthers. And if you're going to ask me, well, which one do you think would you really sprinkle a little more money than others on? I would definitely do that on Penn State. They got the easy slate. They don't play the Big 3. And you get to the Big 10 championship game, you're 4 quarters away from getting paid. So that's why I would really think about sprinkling a few more dollars on than these other teams. So anyways, if you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that, as you can see more off-season videos as we continue to move towards the 2026 season. Take care.
We on a mission now. We serving roadblocks, taking no shots, see the vision now. This